Hey there beautiful people, this is the second time I'm recording this video because my new microphone that I've used approximately 4 times has decided it's not going to work anymore, so that one's going back. So I'm just going to stick with this, and you know, if I sound a bit mouthy sometimes then I'm sorry guys, you're probably just going to have to deal with it. You might have to turn up the volume a little bit. But anyway, let's get on with this week. Weather-wise, London, 4 seasons in one day, cold, hot. We've had the heating come on a few times, which is mad because it's July. Rain, wind, but also sunshine, heat, humidity, the whole thing. So we've got quite a mixed bag going on here. Although, yeah, there's only a couple of things I would just think of as like being a little bit heavier than summer perfumes. So let's start with this one. I won't go too much into detail because I was talking about this in my Wednesday video, the one about high heat perfumes and like summer perfumes. So this is Jill Sander Sport Water for Women. A beautiful, fresh, aquatic, kind of lovely, juicy tea perfume. This is yuzu and peach and green leaves in the top. The mid notes are tea, jasmine and rose. The base is ambrette, woody notes and amber. It's so pretty. It's just lovely. It's a joy to wear. Really beautiful. So that's that guy. And then we have... Let's see. Oh, yeah. So I've been thinking about my top 20 for life. And I do technically have a top 10 for life because they are ones that have survived and are still in my top 20. And they were in my top 20 when I made that video a year or two ago. This one has knocked out one of the ones that is no longer in my top 20, and unfortunately this is a very expensive, well, for me it's very expensive. It's not like, you know, MFK very expensive, but it's expensive for me and my little channel. So this is Diptyque and this is Eau Duelle. This is the EDT version. I also have the EDP version, and they're both awesome and lovely. This is the one that's a little bit greener, a little bit fresher, a little bit more summery, and a bit less smoky. But they're both so similar to each other, honestly. This is a partial bottle from eBay. All of my Diptyques, because I genuinely love Diptyque perfumes. I think they're so good. But they're quite expensive for me, so all of mine are from eBay. I love a bargain, that's how I always roll. So in fact most of my perfumes that are kind of 60 quid and over are from eBay, and I get them for, you know, around about that price or less. So this one is bourbon vanilla, elemi resin, cardamom, juniper, pink pepper, olibanum, black tea, bergamot, ambergris, musk and saffron. And it is just... It's so easy to wear. It's really light. It's pretty. It definitely leaves a little bit of a sillage, but it's quite an intimate perfume, this one. It's quite sheer, light, pretty. And even the EDP isn't like particularly strong, you know. That one just sort of has a slightly different tone to it because it's a bit more smoky and a bit darker and less green. But it's still very, very similar, and the performances aren't particularly like wildly different. But this one, it's like... People will say it's not got any sweetness and it's not a sweet vanilla, but unless you're someone who always wears very sweet perfumes or like really sweetened vanilla, then I think you'd still, like me, find this a bit sweet. It's not like sickly is the difference, I think. It has that natural sweetness from natural vanilla. You know, you're not ever going to taste of vanilla pods in things and be like, there's no sweetness at all there. It's just not like massively amped up, so it's not horrifically sugary or sickly. It's not particularly creamy. It's just so pretty. It's so easy to wear. I love this perfume. So I've been trying to find an affordable alternative, and please do let me know if any of you guys know a good affordable alternative, because you know that most of the time I do like to try and, even if I have more expensive perfumes, I like to try and find something that is much more budget friendly. So the only two, it's really difficult. The only two that I've found, and it doesn't actually smell like it, but in terms of the actual vanilla and the way that the vanilla smells and the feel that one gives me, Libre Platine is the one that has the most similar vanilla, and I love that one. I think it's a bit more feminine because it's got heliotrope, it's a bit more powdery. And it has a slightly different kind of greenness. It's like an aromatic greenness rather than like a fresh greenness. But I do really love that one. So if you can't afford Eau Duelle, that could be an option, even though it's definitely not the same. But what I want to just shout out is that Penhaligons have a perfume that's even more expensive than Eau Duelle. It's called The World According to Arthur. And I tried a dupe of that. So these are little dupes from, I think this is a British company called AW Scents. Now, I'm not going to actually review these because I'm sending them back to the company. Because I can't really smell what these smell like because they are full of aroma chemicals. So what I can say is that their version of The World According to Arthur, which, what's it called? I don't know which one it is. Is it ABLAZE? I don't think it's Vanilla is Life. I can't remember what they've called it. Oh, maybe it's Cajolery. Randomly, it might be this Cajolery one. Not sure. I'm afraid you'll have to check on the website, but I will try to put it down below. But I can smell that it smells a bit like Eau Duelle with the EDP, because The World According to Arthur definitely smells quite similar to the EDP version of Eau Duelle, which in itself therefore smells a bit like the EDT version of Eau Duelle. But yeah, the problem for me is that these have the aroma chemical that is in modern perfumes that's supposed to smell like a yummy vanilla. So I can't smell that smell. I cannot smell what that is supposed to be. So if you like Acro Bake or if you like D&G Devotion, those are both perfumes that have like a lovely, well, they're supposed to have like a lovely vanillic note that people really love. But those are ones that have that aroma chemical that I cannot recognise it as vanilla. I just don't smell it as vanilla. And I'm pretty sure these have that exact same aroma chemical. So if you don't have a problem with that, then The World According to Arthur is the closest dupe in the UK you'll get to an affordable Eau Duelle kind of profile. Yeah, I mean, The World According to Arthur is a bit more smoky than this EDT. That's why it's a bit more like the EDP, but it's so similar. Yeah, I mean, unbelievably, the Penhaligons one is just like so expensive. It's mad. It's one of the cool bottles that has like the animal heads on top of it. But yeah, madly expensive. Next up, sorry if I sound a bit weird, by the way, guys. I think I might have a cold. I'm definitely a little bit blocked up at the moment. I don't think it's any kind of hay fever. Okay. I wear this all the time. I love it. Guestere, the original Guestere, with a Ted Baker lid, because this was a direct in fact, these were both from Direct Cosmetics and they were both tester bottles. But this isn't the original lid, is what I'm trying to say. This is delicious. It's kumquat, pear blossom and lemon blossom in the top. It's cactus, flower, jasmine and wild rose in the mid. It's musk, coconut and woodsy notes in the base. It doesn't smell like coconut. That just gives it a slight creaminess that mixes with the musk, and then to me creates what smells like a kind of creamy bar soap musk in this. I think of this as a fruity musk, but it does definitely a bit floral. It's got delicious kumquat. It's got delicious pear blossom. The kumquat, it's very similar to the kumquat in my husband's Aqua Colonia Myrrh and Kumquat, which is super pretty. This one's obviously this one is a bit more feminine. Some people find this one slightly masculine. I think that's because there's an obvious woody note in here as well. But I'm really fussy about woodsy notes, and this doesn't bother me. I think it's really pretty. In super high heat, this one's too much for me because of that muskiness. But when that happens, I just wear my Aqua Colonia Starfruit and White Flowers because it has a very similar profile to this. Beautiful, just totally lush. Really easy to wear pretty much any time. I love Guestere. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's one of my absolute favourites. Top 20 for life, like 100%. I can't remember, but that might have been in my last one, which means that's my top 10 for life right there. I'm giving away all my secrets. Alright, this is another one that's, again, I got this on eBay. So I think this bottle, I can't even remember what this cost me, but it was much more affordable than it is new. This is Cinema by Yves Saint Laurent. So this one There are a couple of alternatives to this, one of which I have and one of which I'm planning to get so I can see if it's a good replacement or an affordable alternative to Cinema. So there's one by that company called Tessient d'Orient, I think it is. You can get those on Makeup UK. So I'm going to try what I think is supposed to be a dupe of this, according to Fragrantica. So I will get that at some point, and I'll let you guys know whether I think that it's worth buying that one to save yourself some money on this. Now, you know, like I've said before, I love collecting bottles, like with perfume in. I'm not going to keep empty ones because that's just taking up space. But I love this bottle, so it's part of why I was really happy that I liked this perfume, is because I wanted this really cool bottle. It says Yves Saint Laurent all over the back. It's just beautiful. But if you want to save yourself some coin, I'll try that other one. And if you like the idea of a more gourmand version of an expensive perfume, then Jimmy Choo Illicit is cheaper than this, and it's the same kind of profile, but that one is kind of gourmand. It's got the caramel smell, the honey smell in there that this one doesn't have, but the general profile is very similar. So Cinema is apple blossom, clementine, cyclamen, middle notes of jasmine, peony and amaryllis, base notes of vanilla, amber, benzoin and white musk. I went for this one last Saturday because I was meeting my friend for delicious Japanese food, and then we went to the Royal Academy summer exhibition to go and have a look at the nation's art. So I just wanted something that was kind of classy and something that was a bit snuggly, because it was super windy that day. It was kind of raining on and off, but it was also quite humid. It was really weird weather. But I was like, I just want something that gives me a little bit of a kind of cocooning softness and warmness and sweetness, but I don't want it, you know, I want to smell chic and ladylike at the same time because I'm meeting my friend, and I always want her to think that I'm chic and ladylike. Obviously she knows me too well to know that that's not entirely true, but I looked nice, so I wanted to smell nice, you know. I did my hair and everything, and then it rained on me. This I think is a really elevated version of that kind of Jimmy Choo Illicit profile. It's very soft, it's a little bit powdery, it's got this beautiful sweetness to it. It's mainly, for me, clementine, apple blossom and vanilla, and then you've got that kind of benzoin in there, and a little bit of powdery sweet amber. It's really pretty, really nice, and it was actually lovely in warmer weather, but I definitely couldn't wear it if it was hot. It would be way too kind of sweet, and it would become a bit sickly, I think, if it was hot weather. But it's super pretty, lovely. I'll get back to you on the dupe of that, but Jimmy Choo Illicit is an absolutely delicious kind of take on Cinema. I'm just going to try and get that so you can really actually, I don't want to blind you, but yeah. Okay, it's such a busy bottle. And so I always wear something that has at least a little bit of violet in on the first day that I wash my hair with Daddy-O shampoo from Lush and ultraviolet conditioner from Lush. And so on this occasion I decided to go for Stella McCartney Stella Pop Bluebell, which got my fingerprints all over it. So, I mean, isn't it just so cool? It's such a wonderful bottle. It's not a good sprayer, which is a bit of a shame, but it is cool. So, Stella Pop Bluebell. This is violet leaf, tomato leaf, green mandarin in the top. It's bellflower, violet, tuberose and frangipani in the mid. Base notes, musk, sandalwood and cedar. So it has exactly the same notes basically as the original Stella, except for having the bellflower added in, and the sweetness is taken down quite a bit. So it's not as syrupy, it's much more... This one's much more akin to a white floral perfume. It's because it's kind of drier, sharper. It's not as syrupy sweet, and it doesn't have quite such a baby doll head smell to it that the original Stella Pop does. So if you're more of a white floral person, then this is the one for you. The bellflower totally kind of gives this a sheerer, sort of tartar feel, if you see what I mean. I feel bad saying sharper, but it definitely is much sharper. When I first spray it, I always think it's too sharp, but when it dries down on the skin, it gets a little bit of natural sweetness in there. Yeah, this one's also a bit greener, definitely a bit greener. And then the original version of Stella Pop, that's the one to go for if you like a sweeter, more syrupy kind of scent. Or if, you know, obviously, if you love the smell of a baby doll head or a Cabbage Patch doll or whatever it was back in the day, then that's what that smells like. But this, I think, is at its best in like cold summer weather or like spring weather, if you see what I mean. I've tried this at other times of year and I didn't really enjoy the smell of it on my skin, but it's really pretty. It actually goes incredibly well with my hair products, because those are like violet and lemon, and there is a candied sweetness in there, because I think like the conditioner has like almond milk and that kind of thing in it, I think. But it's got a sharpness from the very green violet in there, and it's got a sharpness from the lemon, so it all kind of balances out well, and this goes really well with it. There is a fair bit of tuberose and frangipani in here as well, though. It's not just violet and bellflower. Alright, what have I got next? Oh yeah, I haven't worn this for ages. This is a super cheapie. This one was like, I think I got this for like £5 or something mad. You can't, I don't think they're normally that cheap anymore, but I saw this recently on Makeup UK, so I have seen this again for sale. This is Real by Alta Moda, and I got on my table. So this one is a dupe of Ralph by Ralph Lauren. I'm going to push that into the corner over here. Nobody puts Real in a corner except Fusspot. Okay, so this one is Tangerine, Japanese Low Quat, Mandarin Orange, Lychee, Osmanthus and Cassis in the top. This is a, I think, early 2000s perfume, and therefore has a lot of notes. So it's got Linden Blossom, Magnolia, Boreana, Freesia, Basmati Rice, Jasmine and Rose in the mid. Base notes, White Iris, Musk, Sandalwood and Amber. So my university years, someone I knew wore Ralph, so I just stopped wearing my little bottle of it because it was her signature scent, so it kind of just made me think of her. Didn't feel like me, but I always really liked the smell of it. But when I bought it, I think, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, I tried it again. And I'm 42, so that's you know, quite a long time after I left university, but it was just too shampooey for me, like super shampooey. And then I tried this version just to see what it was like, and it's like a lighter, not a shampooey version of Ralph. It definitely doesn't last very long, this one, but it's cheap, so you know, the performance is not great, and I'm not going to complain about that when it only cost me £5. But I always think that Ralph smells a bit appley, even though it doesn't say there's apple in it, but it's like orangey, definitely osmanthusy, there's definitely freesia, it's a bit musky, but it's definitely got a shampooey quality to it. This one is a bit more shower jelly than shampooey. It doesn't smell quite as hardcore detergenty as like the original Ralph, so I find this one easier to deal with. But if you want something a bit stronger and more long lasting and you don't have a problem with shampooey perfumes, then the original Ralph is such a nice freshie. And in the same way that a lot of perfumes from that time that people call freshies, it's actually quite a strong perfume. You know what I mean? It lasts for ages and it's quite strong, and if you overspray it, it can be a bit overwhelming. It's same as like Tommy Girl by Tommy Hilfiger and Cool Water from Davidoff. They're all things that I think are supposed to be freshies, but I'm like, okay, they're actually quite strong compared to like modern freshies. Anyway, what was next? Oh, okay. So I think this is a declutter, guys, and people might think I'm mad, but I will explain myself. I was in the mood to go for something a bit kind of citrusy and slightly vanillic, because I'd put some Supermilk in my hair. I was just kind of smoothing it out a bit, trying to define the waves a little bit, and then I thought I might as well just wear Supermilk perfume. So this is the Lush Times Community Supermilk perfume. This was limited edition, and I don't love this. So I realised when I wore it again, like every time I try to wear this one, I'm a bit like, I just don't love it. And I was trying to put my finger on what it is, and it reminds me a little bit, there's like a little element of two perfumes that I have and really love that are kind of mixed together in this perfume. So the first one is Lush What Would Love Do? And that is lavender, I think it's tangerine and benzoin, and it's an absolute benzoin bomb. It's like sweet. I personally get like a kind of gingerbready feel to that one, which I really love. It's like got gorgeous autumnal warm spicy feel to it, while also having like a brightness and that lovely comforting lavender going on. It's just lush. And Supermilk kind of has a slightly bitter and medicinal lemony smell with a vanillic creaminess. Not massively vanillic and creamy, but like a bit of that. But it also, to me, smells like there's quite a lot of, again, quite medicinal benzoin in it, and I'm just not loving it with this one. And so what I did is I put this one on in the morning, and then I instantly thought, I'm not loving how I smell right now, and I'm not really loving this one. So I decided to layer, which I don't normally do. I pretty much only layer things if I put something on that I've decided I don't like. That's like the only time I do that. Okay. So I put Far from and Perfumes over it because this is a citrus vanilla. It smells a bit like a old school key lime pie, or like as well, it's more like a lime cheesecake. This is yuzu, lime, and it doesn't list vanilla, which is interesting, but it very much smells like a vanilla to me. So I feel like if you took the kind of medicinal benzoiny vibe from What Would Love Do and mixed it with this delicious citrusy vanilla-y smell, this more gourmand smell, you'd end up with something a bit like Supermilk. And it's just like my not favourite version of those two other favourites, and I think I'd rather just have like the citrusy vanilla and then the benzoiny citrusy one, and I'd rather have those as separate things and not the same thing. And I know loads of people love Supermilk, so it seems sensible to just pass this on. So I will put it on eBay at some point when I have time. But anyway, Supermilk, it lists vanilla, Litsea, Cubea and tonka bean. There's obviously, if you can see from the ingredients, there's way more going on than that. I don't know if they actually list benzoin, but they've got some kind of beryl benzoate. They've got a few things in here that if you look them up on Lush, it will be quite a similar general sense. There's like anise and all kinds of stuff in here. So it gives a bit of a benzoiny feel, which is part of the magic of it, to be honest. But I just love Far so much. So Far is just, again, listed as kaffir, lime, yuzu, mandarin orange, ladamant and biscuit. But there's 100% there's vanilla in here. Like, it totally smells... Oh, it's so delicious. I love it. So this is the Eau de Parfum. They're 35 quid for a 10ml. So when I mean, at some point when I save up a bit of money and I will invest in getting a 50ml bottle of the EDT, because I want to compare them. And annoyingly, you can't get samples of the EDT and you can't get 10ml of the EDT. So the EDT for 50ml is £69, but I have a £25 voucher because I bought the sample set. So when you buy the sample set from and Perfumes, they will put, as part of that, they have a £25 off any 50ml bottle of perfume from them. So at some point I will invest in that, and I'll let you know whether that is as good as the EDP. I've only read one review of it, and it says that weirdly the EDP has a better like scent bubble, and like it has more throw than the EDT, which is interesting. At the EDP even. Oh my god, I'm getting mixed up. I'll let you know when I invest. And also I'd love a full bottle of it, because you can see I've already made a little dent in this, and I love it. I love this perfume. It is hands down the best like gourmand vanilla that I've smelt, and I've smelt a few, and some of them, like I said earlier, don't smell of anything to me. And then you have, so probably my second favourite I've smelt is Capri in a bottle. I haven't given this one a full wear test yet though, because I feel like it might be slightly sickly, because unlike this one, this doesn't really have the acidity or the bitterness that you get with like natural like citrus fruits. So it's just kind of sweet. It's got a little bit, it's got enough of the acidity of lemon to give it a little bit of a sherbety feel, but it's very, very vanillic. The more it dries down, the sweeter it gets. It's a very sweet perfume, I think. Whereas this one, It definitely has like a layer of sweetness, but it also has a layer of really natural smelling citrus oils and citrus pith and citrus acidity. You know, it has a beautiful naturalness to it without smelling like a cleaning product. I don't think it smells like a cleaning product anyway. And I wore this in quite warm weather and it worked really well and it was Lush. So there you go. I know now I can wear far even if it's quite warm weather because it is totally unbothersome considering that it's quite a sweet perfume. I'm really happy about that. Absolutely fabulous. I love it. I can't sing its praises highly enough. All right. Okay, last but not least. Well, I mean, it's just a sample, so it is least out of these, to be honest. This is Libre Platine. Can you see that one there? Yeah, there it is. So I tried this one when it was out in store, and I did think it was really nice. I thought it was more unisex, and I said it was quite kind of light. It wasn't like a really obvious perfume, but it lasted for ages. I believe that was my general take on it. But I wanted to actually have it in my home so I could properly smell it again. I wanted to compare it. So I think personally this is going to divide all the Libre lovers because some Libre people don't really like lavender. And the people who like the Libre profile but don't like lavender. And personally, honestly, I find the original Libre to be a very soapy orange blossom jasmine. And I don't get huge amounts of lavender in that perfume, just a bit. And the same with most of the ones I've smelt. This one is a lavender perfume, like a lot of lavender. So if you like lavender, I think it's possible this would be your favourite Libre. This is my favourite Libre. I think this one's really, really pretty. And like I said, it's super unisex smelling to me as well. It's soapy, but it's body lotiony to me, this one. So the notes are aldehydes, bergamot and mandarin orange in the top. Middle notes are lavender, blue lavender and orange blossom in the mid. Base notes vanilla and amber. This goes on a real journey, this one. So and I'll try to describe it at the different times, if you see what I mean. So opens with aldehydes and they are sparkly and soapy. And they do have a bit of a sharp, bubble bathy kind of smell about them at first. Definitely. Classic aldehydes. And I love aldehydes. I remember seeing a reviewer, maybe just even last year, saying that aldehydes were really unfashionable and that nobody liked aldehydes. And that's why Chanel No. 5 is just rubbish and they shouldn't make it anymore. And I was like, I'm not sure. Like, all the niche houses had started using aldehydes again. And now here we go. Aldehydes are making a comeback. And as someone who loves an aldehyde and a nice classic bar soapy old school perfume, yes please to aldehydes. So anyway, you definitely get some of the mandarin orange and the bergamot, and you definitely get the aldehydes. It's exactly as the notes would suggest. And then you get a really nice dose of very pretty, very cold smelling lavender. It's so, like, silver is the perfect colour to represent how this smells. It's absolutely lush. And it's been compared to Bloomerin. Am I saying that right? Bloomerin? I'm just going to say Bloomerin. Let Me Love You. I have a sample of that, and I can definitely see the similarities. But I think the thing it smells like the most when you first spray it is Jose from Eisenberg. I have a little bottle of that and I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's perfect. Unfortunately, because I got that for like £26 or something, my little 30ml of Jose, but it's really jumped up in price, so I feel like maybe Notino just had a few unboxed versions or like opened boxes of that. Maybe they were returns or something, because they're like £50-60 now, which is gutted. But anyway, I adore that perfume. It's Lush, and it is a very sweet, slightly creamy, vanilla-based lavender perfume. Really fabulous. And Bloomerin is very similar to Jose, but it has a very noticeable patchouli in it, so it's a bit more earthy. It's got a different kind of greenness to it, but it's very similar. So when you first spray this and when it dries down a little bit and you're really getting that lavender, yes, it smells like those perfumes. And then the more it dries down, it starts to smell like a body lotion, and it reminds me more of Burberry Brit Rhythm. So Burberry Brit Rhythm, that's discontinued. It's really hard to get. I'd say that this would be a good alternative, except this is so expensive that maybe not. But Burberry Brit Rhythm also has aldehydes. It also has lavender. I do think there might be orange blossom as well. So I think it's quite a similar perfume generally, except that the sweetness in Burberry Brit, I think, is more of a kind of sugary, tonkery smell. I don't think it smells very vanillic. So this one, it kind of goes through that phase of smelling like a body lotion, which is the same as Burberry Brit Rhythm. So it goes from that kind of soapy aldehydes, lavender, down into more of a kind of very sweet lavender body lotion. Well, lavender and orange blossom. There's definitely a lot of orange blossom, which is probably why I'm getting that body lotion smell. I often get that with orange blossom. And then, in the very deep dry down, the vanilla is really poking its head through. And by that point, it genuinely reminds me of the deep dry down of Black Opium Le Parfum, the one with all the different vanillas in it. So that's a perfume that I really like how that smells at first, because it's got a little bit of a Burberry Goddess smell about it. But the more it dries down, the more the vanilla becomes a bit sickly on me, because it's mixed so much with the orange blossom. And then the more it dries down, the more it smells a little bit like Black Opium, the original Black Opium. And that's not a perfume I really particularly like. But yeah, so yeah, it's got kind of Burberry Brit Rhythm, Jose, Bloomerin, Let Me Love You, that is, and then also Black Opium Le Parfum. Like, those are all the different things that this is making me think of. And it's a really pretty perfume, but it's very expensive. And if you want a budget alternative, then I would genuinely say go for Bloomerin, Let Me Love You. You can get that for a decent price. I think I've seen it for like £30-35. And I would say that one, that's, if you remember, it's in like it's not Victoria's Secret. What is the lingerie company called? Agent Provocateur. It's in the kind of teardrop shaped bottles that Agent Provocateur have. So yeah, it's a really pretty perfume, but it's very expensive. And unless you're not bothered about like spending lots of money on perfumes, because I'd love to have one of these perfumes, purely because I love the bottles so much, you know, not because I love the perfume so much, but because I just love these bottles. I think they're so classy, they're gorgeous. But yeah, it's my favourite from the Libre range, definitely. It's much more in my neck of the woods, but I have Jose and I have Burberry Brit Rhythm and I have a sample of Bloomerin, and I did have a sample. It might be one I gave away, actually. I did have a sample of the Black Opium Le Parfum, but I just decided that there was no way I was going to wear it, because I just think the deep dry down was just a little bit sickly on me. But yeah. So anyway, that was my week. Let me know if you have any of these. Let me know what you've been wearing this week. Let me know what the weather's been like, and if you are lucky and you're actually getting a proper summer wherever you are. On Wednesday, I will have up my first Jan Arthur's cheapy haul. So I think actually that has one Benetton perfume in it, but that's my first Notino haul. Not my first ever Notino haul. The first of 2 videos is what I mean. So that's the first one on Wednesday, and then the next Jan Arthur's haul will be in a couple of weeks. So that's what's coming up this week, and we are so close to 2,000 subscribers. I say we in the royal way. My channel, my beloved little channel, is very close to having 2,000 subscribers. So if you are one of the people who regularly watches my videos but isn't subscribed, please do consider subscribing. It makes a massive difference to me. I do like 3 videos a week, so hopefully not too excessive to come up in your feed. And I thank you massively if you do subscribe. If you're already one of my subscribers, you are wonderful. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my videos. I love making these. It's super fun. I'll be back next week with a new bunch of perfumes, and I really hope some summer perfumes, because I really hope I'm going to get some proper sunshine. Yes, all right. Bye, guys.